The Tale of the Shipwrecked Sailor, an ancient Egyptian story. Introduction. This tale comes to us from one of the oldest surviving pieces of Egyptian literature, preserved on a papyrus now housed in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. Dating to around 2000 to 1900 BCE during Egypt's Middle Kingdom period, the tale of the shipwrecked sailor was originally written in hieratic script and represents one of the earliest known adventure stories in human literature. The story was likely told and retold throughout ancient Egypt, serving both as entertainment and as a moral tale about fate, humility, and the power of storytelling itself. It reflects the ancient Egyptians' relationship with the sea, their belief in magical realms beyond the known world, and their sophisticated understanding of narrative structure. The Tale of the Shipwrecked Sailor. Long ago, in the time when the great pharaohs ruled Egypt and the Nile flowed with abundance, there lived a skilled sailor who served in the royal fleet. This sailor had returned from a failed expedition, and his heart was heavy with the burden of disappointing news he must deliver to his pharaoh. As he prepared to face his king, a wise companion approached him and said, "My friend, let me tell you a story that may give you courage. Listen well, for it is a tale of wonder that once befell me." And so the companion began his extraordinary tale. "I was once aboard a great ship sailing to the pharaoh's mines, a vessel 120 cubits long and 40 cubits wide, manned by the finest sailors in all of Egypt. These were men whose hearts were braver than lions, who could predict storms before they arrived and navigate by the stars themselves. But even the mightiest ships are no match for the fury of the sea when the gods decree it so. A tempest arose suddenly, more terrible than any we had ever seen. The wind howled like 1,000 demons, and waves as tall as mountains crashed over our vessel. The ship was swallowed by the angry waters, and of all the crew, I alone survived. I was cast upon an island by a great wave, and there I lay for 3 days, unconscious and more dead than alive. When I finally awakened, thirst drove me to explore this strange land. I found fresh water, figs, grapes, and fish in abundance. There were cucumbers, melons, and birds of every kind. Truly, this island lacked nothing that a man might need. But as I was gathering wood to make a fire, I heard a sound like thunder approaching. The trees began to shake, and the very ground trembled beneath my feet. Then I saw him, a serpent coming toward me, 30 cubits in length, with a beard 2 cubits long. His body was covered in gold. His eyebrows were of real lapis lazuli, and he reared up before me like a living mountain. The Great Serpent opened his mouth and spoke. "Who brought you here, little one? Who brought you to this island? If you do not tell me immediately what brought you to this place, I will make you know what it is to be burned to ashes and become something that cannot be seen." Trembling with fear, I fell upon my belly before this magnificent creature and told him, "Though you speak to me, I cannot hear you properly, for I am overcome by your presence. I am before a god whose nature I do not understand." Then the serpent took me gently in his mouth and carried me to his dwelling place, setting me down without harming me in any way. Again he asked how I came to be there, and this time I found my voice. I told him of the failed expedition, of the terrible storm, and of how I alone had survived the wreck. As I spoke, the great serpent's eyes filled with compassion. "Do not fear, little one," he said in a voice like gentle thunder. "Do not fear, and do not look so pale. You have come to me, and it is God who has let you live. He has brought you to this island of the blessed where nothing is lacking and which is filled with all good things. You shall spend 4 months here with me, and then a ship will come from your homeland, filled with sailors you know. You will go with them and die in your own city. How happy is he who can tell of what he has experienced when the painful time is past?" I threw myself upon my belly again and said, "I will tell the pharaoh of your greatness. I will send you offerings of precious oils and incense, and ships loaded with all the treasures of Egypt. I will sacrifice cattle to you and burn incense in your honor when I return to the temple in the presence of the entire land." But the serpent laughed a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "You are not rich in incense," he said kindly. "You are only rich in myrrh. But I am the lord of this island of the blessed, and myrrh belongs to me. It flows here like water. Moreover, when you leave this place, you will never see this island again, for it will disappear beneath the waves." And so it came to pass exactly as the serpent had foretold. After 4 months, a ship appeared on the horizon, just as he had promised. I climbed a tall tree to see it better, and I recognized the sailors aboard. I ran to tell the Great Serpent, but I found that he already knew. "Go in peace, little one," he said. "Go to your home, see your children again, and let your name be good in your city. These are my wishes for you." Again, I threw myself upon my belly before him and said, "I will tell the Pharaoh of your power. I will make sure your greatness is known." Then the serpent gave me precious gifts: myrrh, fine incense, eye paint, giraffe tails, elephant tusks, greyhounds, baboons, and all manner of precious things. I loaded these treasures onto the ship, and as I prepared to depart, I prostrated myself once more to thank him. "You will reach your homeland in 2 months," the serpent told me. "You will embrace your children and flourish in your city, and there you will be buried." I sailed away, and as I looked back, I saw the island sink slowly beneath the blue waters, just as the serpent had said. In exactly 2 months I arrived in Egypt and presented myself to the Pharaoh with all the treasures the serpent had given me. The Pharaoh rewarded me greatly and appointed me as one of his followers. All the treasures were recorded and stored in the royal treasury, and I was given servants and land as befitted my service. The wise companion finished his tale and looked at his troubled friend. "You see," he said gently, "even from the greatest disasters can come unexpected gifts. Go now to your Pharaoh with courage. Tell your story truthfully, for sometimes what seems like failure leads to the greatest adventures of all." And so the sailor took heart from this wondrous tale and went forth to face his king, knowing that even in disappointment there might be hidden blessings yet to unfold. Epilogue. The Shipwrecked Sailor is an ancient Egyptian story preserved on a papyrus from the Middle Kingdom around 2000 to 1700 BCE that blends adventure, wonder, and moral wisdom. It begins with an Egyptian sailor recounting his survival to his superior after a failed voyage. He describes how his ship was destroyed in a violent storm, leaving him stranded on a mysterious, enchanted island. The island is lush with food and drink, but inhabited by a single, enormous talking serpent, the Great Serpent, shimmering with gold and lapis lazuli. The serpent reassures the sailor, tells him not to fear, and shares its own tragic tale. It once lived with a family of serpents until a falling star killed them all, leaving it alone. The serpent predicts the sailor will be rescued in 4 months and return safely to Egypt, advising him to trust in fate. When the sailor is finally rescued, the island vanishes into the sea. The story ends with the sailor urging his superior to take heart, as even in disaster there is hope and survival. The tale is often read as a lesson in resilience, the acceptance of destiny, and the idea that wisdom can come from unexpected encounters.